boss, and Spider-Man Brand New Day has officially unveiled Tom Holland in the suit, which seems like a strategic reveal considering onlookers in Glasgow would be seeing him all over the city. And since our quick update on Friday evening, we have learned even more about what this film will be, and how the Hulk, Punisher, and Mr. Negative could fit into this story, and how Marvel might have to look to Sony to save the MCU. I talked about the Friday 8-second video of the new Spider-Man suit, but on Saturday, Sony and Marvel showed Tom Holland in the full suit in this 22-second video.
We ready?
Now, we couldn't include the music in this because of YouTube copyright, but it is a track called Peter Parker Picked a Perilously Precarious Profession, which is Michael Giacchino's hilariously named updated version of his MCU Spider-Man theme used in 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, a beautiful piano cover that comes at the end of the 2021 film. Peter has established himself in his new apartment in Manhattan with his new suit. So this really is the music of the Brand New Day era of Peter
I love the final swing
with his
right?
new suit. So this really,
but like that, even in the dark, does this not look like a video game cutscene? That's why I can't put it higher on my list.
is the
Look
music
at that.
of the
This, you didn't know, like if what the frick? If you hadn't seen No Way Home and I was showing you this, you would think this is from like the PS5 video game. Actually, the PS5 video game might look better.
Brand New Day era of Peter Parker's life that this new film will be set in. So in this clip, we're seeing Tom Holland in his suit on a film soundstage, which is not—
Stop complaining, Unc. It's better than the TASM 2 suit. Yeah, that's gonna be it for me. That's gonna be it for me. Goodbye.
unlike the marketing that Marvel Studios has done for Avengers Doomsday, the March 26th set shares live stream, a way of signaling to viewers that production has begun. Yeah, I think it was pretty smart for the studio to reveal the suit this way, considering they knew that on the same day, August 2nd, Tom Holland would be all over the Glasgow area shooting this major armored truck chase sequence in this costume. This way, Marvel and Sony get to control the new suit reveal their own way, without having sloppy images of the suit show up from photos taken by paparazzi or just onlookers walking around Glasgow.
Well,
but
that was
those have been pretty fun to look at too. Some things that we should note about this—
Did he just confirm that he likes looking at Tom Holland's butt? I'm pretty sure that's what I just heard.
Glasgow, but those have been pretty fun to look at too.
Those have been pretty fun to look at too, as he shows his freaking butt.
Some things that we should note about this new suit. This is a slightly updated version of the suit Peter Parker built for himself at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, evidenced by the sewing machine that we saw in his apartment. The blue pieces aren't quite as shiny here, but the colors are just as vibrant, and the blues just as deep. In the official screenplay of Spider-Man No Way Home by Eric Summers and Chris McKenna, who also returned to write the script for Brand New Day, they described that suit this way on the final page. Spider-Man flips and rolls across a snowy roof in a blue and red suit. New for him, but reminiscent of suits he's seen before. I love this. It's a really fun Easter egg that confirms that this new suit is deliberately meant to be inspired by the custom handmade DIY suits worn by Andrew Garfield Peter Parker and Tobey Maguire Peter Parker, his brothers from other universes. And you can definitely see that influence in the way Tom Holland even seems to be approaching the character now. He has longer, curlier hair to show off his older age, a mop reminiscent of Andrew Garfield from his various roles, and even the way Tom Holland jumps to kind of ready himself feels like the kind of warming up Andrew Garfield would do as his version of Spider-Man. Either way, this will be an—
Because TASM movies are fun. Someone asked me a question up here. I don't know, dude. We can't hear him either way. I'm a new fan. Do you stream often? I am right now. We'll see how long that lasts. Should MJ be in the new Spider-Man movie? I wouldn't be opposed. Can you turn up the volume?
era of Peter Parker that is not equipped with Stark tech as the past 3 Tom Holland Spider-Man movies were. So for that reason, and a number of others, everyone seems to be really loving the Brand New Day look so far. The chest logo is certainly bigger than it even was at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. You could see this as a design throwback to the Sam Raimi era of the suit, which also comes along with the raised webbing that we saw in the extreme close-ups. But we should note that the logo does not seem to be in exactly the same position on the chest as it was in that Friday suit close-up video, which could be further evidence to the the
Fall
rumors we're
Guys
seeing
when?
that there will be 2 different Spider-Man suits in this movie. But I have another theory on that I'll get to at the end of this video. But if you look closely, you can see Peter's new web shooters. They are super visible outside of his suit, metallic, they stand out, which is another detail that I really like, because I think we should be able to see the hardware to have a sense of it being something that Peter built, something Peter has to reload and repair. It's not exactly the clunky hardware that Peter had for his original Underoos suit from Civil War before Tony hooked him up with the new suit, but it does look like the designers went back to that early era from the 2016 film to get a sense of what Peter's design hardware looked like before he met Tony Stark. And this was the suit that he was wearing in the final battle of the 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, Sony didn't show this in the soundstage video, but the Glasgow images, including one shared by Holland himself with director Destin Daniel Cretton, showed Peter's new mask for this movie. The eyepieces looked like they're back to being the same adjustable lenses.
Yeah, chat, do you want him to have the movable eyes, or do you want them to be stationary? I just like that they're bigger. Obviously, I like the TASM 2 eyes, but also to set himself apart, to set Tom apart from the other Spider-Mans, I'm fine with it still having the movable eyes. Yes, stationary eyes. I like the movable eyes. I do too. I mean, not if it looks too CGI-y, which it does sometimes here, but I do think it gives it a little bit more character. And it sets him apart from, like, the other stuff, the other people. You know what I mean? The other Spider-Mans.
From the Stark suit in Civil War, but their default shape makes them look bigger and more curved, which I definitely prefer. Anytime we talk about these suits, it's really a conversation of form and function. And form, visually, it seems like they did a pretty good job, but function, based on other photos, it seems like his mask can be pulled off as a practical hood, drooping from its collar, similar to the Andrew Garfield era. Either way, no nanotech peel back, and it evokes the kind of pinch and pull of the mask of the brand new Day comic cover. So the scenes that they're shooting in downtown Glasgow are part of a chase where Peter lands on an armored truck and rides it. We know there's gonna be a big explosion, and it seems like Peter will use his webbing maybe to stop a taxi and a white van from colliding with the truck. Last week, I pointed out this symbol on the side of one of these trucks and cited speculation that it could be the symbol of the Inner Demons, the gang of Mr. Negative.
Yeah,
in Friday's Hollywood Reporter Heat Vision newsletter by Boris Kitt and Aaron Couch, they confirmed the speculation that Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and Michael Mando's Matt
Chat, are we all going to riot and hate on this movie if Hulk sucks again? Yes or no? Andrew put on a shirt. Do y'all just enjoy saying dumb things? Yes, 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 yes. Indeed. That's like the number one thing that's pissing me off right now, bro. As long as Spider-Man is awesome, I don't care. But, like, I'm tired of washed Hulk. I'm tired. Like, someone in chat tell me the last time Hulk actually did something good. I'll wait. Or didn't lose a fight. The last time Hulk didn't lose a fight. 2012, that is correct. Ragnarok, not really. He wasn't peaking Ragnarok even. He had some good parts, but he still lost the fight to Thor, technically. And then at the end fight, we get that stupid bit where he lands on the bridge and doesn't transform. And then he fights the Hela's Wolf for like 5 seconds. But we don't even see that fight very much. Like, he gets his arm grabbed and then they jump into the water and we watch it for literally about 5 seconds. So we don't really see much.
I heard a theory that Mr. Negative might get a hold of Hulk and turn him into Rage Hulk.
Thank you for the 5, Isaiah. I think that's a great theory. That would make a lot of sense. I think that'd be cool. He was cool in Age of Ultron, but even in that movie, he's cool at the start, but then he loses to Iron Man, and then in the final battle, we barely see him. We barely see Hulk in the entire Sokovia fight. Even at the end, when he jumps up to get the final Ultron bot that's in the jet, it even cuts away and you just hear Ultron be like, oh my gosh, and then he gets punched out of the jet. But we don't even see that fight. So last time we saw him do something a lot that was good was literally the first Avengers, in my opinion.
and Scorpion will return in this movie. They ended their report with this: the plot details are being kept under the vest, but you can bet that in the mighty Marvel manner, Spider-Man, Punisher, and Hulk will all fight one another before figuring out who the real bad guys are. On Monday, Scooper Daniel RPK claimed that Spider-Man Brand New Day will—
What are these two gonna do against Hulk? What are they going to do?
Will have a darker tone, similar to Kraven's Last Hunt or The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which kind of sounds like they're saying someone's gonna die. Watch out, MJ. Daniel RPK was also saying that Frank Castle Punisher was his usual murderous psychopath self, but will have weaponry to deal with threats like Spider-Man and the Hulk. The scooper claimed that Mayor Wilson Fisk Kingpin will not be in this movie.
That's annoying. I would really... Why can't we have Daredevil and Spider-Man? Where is Daredevil and Spider-Man? We getting Punisher, we're getting Hulk, we might get Yelena. We might get freaking... Why can't we have Daredevil? Like, I know we got Matt Murdock in No Way Home for one scene, but... Is now a good time to remind Marvel that Bucky literally lives in Brooklyn? No, it's not, because I think we can all agree we've seen enough of him, right? Let someone else have some limelight, like Captain Carter or something.
But that Scorpion will be joined by other lesser villains like Tombstone, Tarantula, Boomerang, and Ramrod. He claimed that
I want Tombstone so bad. And I want the guy who plays Mr. Millicek to play Tombstone. That would be freaking sick.
Scorpion will have a prominent role, but he was not the main villain, and that Zendaya is currently in Glasgow to support Tom Holland, but will not be filming any scenes there, but she does have an important role in the film, just not a substantial amount of screen time. Michael Mando shared an Instagram story of a Scorpion action figure in the green suit from the comics in the 90s animated series, which some fans took to mean that Matt Gargan could be wearing something closer to a comic-accurate suit in this movie. We last saw him in 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming as one of the criminals that Peter foiled on the Staten Island ferry, seen in the film's post-credit scene in prison on...
Foiled, aka messed up the internal investigation by the FBI that Iron Man set up as he split the boat in half and then failed to save it. But all right.
Rikers Island, promising to Adrian Toome's Vulture to find Spider-Man, cut off his head, and put it in a dryer. Sadie Sink will also be joining the cast of this movie. In the past, I've speculated that she could be playing Carly Cooper from the Brand New Day era of the comics, a CSI investigator and roller derby competitor. And sure enough, another scooper, Divinity Seeker, is now claiming, with not really any source mentioned, that Sink will be playing a...
Yeah, at this point, what do we think Sadie Sink is playing? I love Sadie Sink. I think she's great in... The Whale. I think she's great in Stranger Things. But everyone wants her to be Gwen Stacy or an MJ or all this different stuff. I don't think she's going to be any of that. Mayday? No. Mary Jane, please not Gwen. She could play Mary Jane, not Michelle Jones. That'd be so weird for them to do two MJs. You know what I mean? Joe Keery rumored to be Harry. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be down with that.
Character named Carly, spelled differently, who is a forensic scientist and an ally to Peter, whose real identity is revealed in a jaw-dropping moment at the end of the film. Okay, but with Liza Colon Zayas in the film as well, some are speculating that she could be playing Rio Morales, the mother of Miles Morales. Clearly, Marvel's casting team loves the bear, and if you're looking for Puerto Rican actresses of a certain age, she would be near the top of the list. Miles is confirmed to exist in the MCU already, since Donald Glover played Aaron Davis.
Do we think they're going to introduce Miles Morales in No Way Home? I'm sorry, in Brand New Day. I don't think so. But I would love to see live action Miles Morales. I'm thinking maybe the next movie. You know, not this one, but the next. You know, maybe a small cameo. Yeah. There's a Sony issue. Sony, man.
Spider-Man Homecoming, and his character referenced having a nephew who lives in the area, a nephew he straight up named Miles in a deleted scene.
Yeah, sorry, Miles, I'm not gonna make it.
If this fourth film is going back to the 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming to bring back Matt Gargan, why not also bring back the character mentioned in that film that everyone is dying to see in live action? Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. If you ever find yourself looking around and thinking, Rockstars, and get 10% off your first month of therapy. In comments to the press recently, Kevin Feige said about Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think there's a promise at the end of No Way Home that, for as sad as it is, that Peter is forgotten by everyone in his life. We are seeing for the first time in the Tom Holland Spider-Man stories, him being a proper Spider-Man, him being by himself, dedicated to saving the city and dealing with, for lack of a better term, street-level crime, as opposed to the world-ending events that he faced with.
Okay, that's good. I mean, everyone wants it to be a grounded story, street level, as opposed to multiverse stuff. There's still some rumors that it was going to be a multiverse saga story, but I don't think anyone wants that, right? Strange let Tony die because he saw realities of him becoming Doom. Whoa! That'd be crazy! That'd be crazy! Can you just play
working with the other characters. So when you do that, you say, okay, who are the other street level characters that we've never seen him interact with? And of course, I love that the Punisher started in a Spider-Man comic and that great cover. I don't want to say too much, but I will say too much. Destin is doing an amazing job right now on that movie. It starts shooting very soon, and he's got 8 or 9 comic covers up on his wall in his apartment that he is bringing to life in this movie. It's super cool. And now we're wondering, was one of those comic crossovers a Spider-Man Hulk story? How much time has Peter Parker spent with Bruce Banner in the MCU? Well, they have fought alongside each other, specifically in Central Park and Avengers Infinity War, a moment that very much confused Bruce Banner because later in the movie he said, wait, there's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man? And then of course in the Battle of Earth and Avengers Endgame, they definitely charged alongside each other. They also both knelt in respect when Tony Stark died and were both at his funeral. So obviously Peter Parker would have a certain sense of loyalty to Bruce Banner. But 2 questions I think need to be answered. 1, what's in that armored truck or that tank that Spider-Man is riding or trying to stop?
Yeah, this is such a big scene. Like they filmed that for so long, not long, I guess, but like they were blowing up so many things. Like this has to be a big fight scene. And where is this tank coming from? Like, is this the tank that has the Mr. Negative logo on it? Also, is this is the same timeline where Wilson Fisk has like taken over New York, basically, right? Andrew would be the type of guy to ignore a galaxy. Guys, every stream I have said this, I cannot see donations on TikTok. So if someone sent me a galaxy, thank you. I normally can only see on YouTube right now. I'm trying to figure it all out, but it is very difficult. There's a curfew. He's got all those people locked up. Daredevil's there, and like so, if it turns into a war zone, I feel like Kingpin and Daredevil. This would be such a great movie for Kingpin and Daredevil to be in, especially because Punisher's in it, and it's finally street level. Our technology god.
What kind of street level story involves Peter Parker and the Hulk and a super equipped Punisher, Scorpion, MJ and Ned in some reduced roles, Sadie Sink in some mystery role, and an unconfirmed primary villain who is not Kingpin but might be Mr. Negative, as well as a handful of other villains, and maybe also Rio Morales and Miles Morales? Well, my theory for question 1 is maybe...
Chat, question. Who is the better couple? Gwen and Miles in the Spider-Verse movies, or the parents Rio and what the frick is his name? Rio and Officer Morales. What the frick is his first name? Jefferson, right?
Do you think the after credits scene will follow up on Thunderbolt's after credits scene?
Do you think the after credits scene will follow up on Thunderbolt's after credits scene? Like the after credits scene for Brand New Day? Maybe. I mean, it's the last movie we're getting before we go into Doomsday, right? So I feel like it has to connect somehow. Rio and Jeff, Rio and Jeff, Zuko and Katara. All right, you're gone. I'm not. No, not today.
The reason Peter Parker is rushing to stop that armored vehicle is that it's being driven by Frank Castle after a break-in at the DODC storage unit, so that Frank now has access to some kind of sonic cannon technology that we know was on the Stark drones that the DODC confiscated at the beginning of Spider-Man No Way Home, and we know that technology was one thing that could be used to repel a Hulk. And so Peter's trying to intervene. The reason Peter Parker is rushing to stop that armored vehicle is that it's being driven by Frank Castle after a break-in at the DODC storage unit, so that Frank now has access to some kind of sonic cannon technology that we know was on the Stark drones that the DODC confiscated at the beginning of Spider-Man No Way Home, and we know that technology was one thing that could be used to repel a Hulk. And so Peter's trying to intervene with Frank Castle trying to hunt the Hulk. For question 2, I think
that would be cool.
It's too soon to say how a cast this big and this diverse in terms of power scale could stay within a street level conflict. But despite all of these larger than life characters, Kevin Feige's commitment to this story staying street level must be a reference to the theme and the conflict of the story and how that conflict affects Peter Parker's local community on a scale that we just feel more deeply than we do a global or a universe-wide threat. So what type of threats hit local communities on a deeper level than they do the entire world? Well, things like specific community-based economic pressures, things like local crime, things like gangs and drug distribution. And I think
I still think it's one of the worst MCU decisions ever to take this scene out of Far From Home. I think this would make Far From Home an entire point better. Like, this scene is so good.
That's why Mr. Negative is fitting so well into this movie in many people's heads. As the major emerging villain of the Brand New Day era in the comics, as someone who has his own interesting immigrant story, as someone who can manipulate the Light Force and the Dark Force, whose alter ego Martin Lee is a philanthropist who backs the Feast Homeless Center that now in the movie universe serves as the legacy of Peter's dead aunt, Aunt May. Mr. Negative also peddles a drug called Shade that might have some kind of effect on Bruce Banner to revert him from his Smart Hulk form to the Rage Monster form that we all kind of miss. A form that Harlem in New York City has
Rage
very
Monster spam
bad
in chat,
memories
please.
of, and maybe even local vigilantes like Frank Castle might feel a need to hunt down. So another question I want to leave you with is, do we think Marvel Studios might have pushed Sony to make this Doomsday-esque soundstage suit announcement precisely on a weekend when they knew Fantastic Four First Steps box office would be down a bit? I don't know about that, but it does raise the question of how much Marvel will be pushing to use Spider-Man Brand New Day to set up Avengers Doomsday, a movie that will come out 5 months later in 2026. Kevin Feige also mentioned to press via CBR that he is eager to explore Spider-Man's relationship with the Human Torch, saying that's one of the key relationships in Marvel Comics. Johnny's.
Yeah, I mean, chat, who are 2 characters in the MCU that have not interacted that you would want to interact? I think this is a great one. Johnny Storm and Peter Parker. All my answers are Peter Parker. Peter Parker, Spider-Man and Thor, Spider-Man and Daredevil, Spider-Man and Deadpool. I want Team Red. You know, like, who else? Who am I missing? Hulk and Daredevil? Deadpool and Spidey? Yeah, exactly. Thing and Hulk? That's a good one. Thing and Hulk is good. Reed and Tony? That's good, but Tony is, you know... I really want to see Bucky. Okay, end of reading that. Star-Lord and Spider-Man again. That'd be fun. Are the Guardians... Are the Guardians coming back? Hulk and Wolverine? Yeah, we don't have like an MCU Wolverine really
Storm
yet.
and Peter Parker, and we've never been able to come close to it before,
you know what I mean?
and now it is in the realm of possibility. That's exciting. Could a meeting between Peter Parker and Johnny Storm in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man
Peter Parker and Zutara. Okay, he's gone. He is gone.
and Brand New Day be the thing that takes us into Avengers Doomsday? Also, could that mention of a second Peter Parker suit be a reference to a new white-colored Future Foundation suit that Peter could be wearing in Avengers Doomsday? Comment down below with your thoughts on all this, and a special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Sin City Monster, who supports us at the executive producer level. Follow me at EA Voss and subscribe.
Very cool, very cool, very cool. Okay.